Yes, so namaste and good evening to all the participants from India and good morning to all the overseas participants. So today we are going to discuss a very important topic, vitamin D. Why I chose only this vitamin D, that you will come to know later on. But let us do a small recap of the Sharan 5-point plan. Does anybody remember other than Pooja, who is from Sharan? What is the Sharan 5-point plan that we should follow for a healthy life? Yeah, you can unmute yourself or you can type in the chat box also. Yeah, what is Sharan about? Anybody? I think most of you are following the Sharan lifestyle here. You should know.
Whole,
Sanctuary,
whole,
sanctuary for health and reconnection to animals and nature.
Yes, that's the full form of Sharan. But what is the Sharan 5-point plan? There is something called as a 5-point
Whole,
plan.
whole food plant-based.
Yes, so one is whole food, second is plant-based. What is the third one?
No processed food.
No
Oh,
process.
sorry, it comes under that.
Dairy-free, sugar-free, oil-free.
Okay, dairy-free, sugar-free, oil-free. Okay. Yeah, but that comes under, I would say, plant-based and whole food.
Check the vitamin D3 and B12.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have four. And what's the fifth one? So we have one is whole food, we have plant-based, we have D3, we have B12. What about fifth one?
Spinach is only for 2 days, 1 week.
Sorry?
I think I don't know.
It's organic. It is organic.
Yeah.
So even the Sharan 5-point plan mentions about vitamin D. What do you think is the reason why Sharan is so peculiar about vitamin D and B12? What could be the reason? Let me get you thinking. Let me get you all more aware. Yeah. You can speak in Hindi also. कि शरण vitamin D और B12 पे इतनी अहमियत क्यों देता है? Yeah. What could be the reason?
Most of the people are deficient in that one.
Absolutely. Most of
And
the
we
people.
don't consume dairy products, so maybe deficiency of that one.
Yeah. So just to make it clear, dairy doesn't contain D3 and B12.
Okay.
Yes, yes. So that's a misconception people have, because most of the times, a few companies, what they do, they fortify milk with D3. Okay, so the cow's milk or buffalo milk or any animal milk, they also don't contain any D3. Yes. And any idea what percentage of Indian population is deficient in vitamin D? Any guesses? I want others also to participate. Yeah. You can type in the chat box also if you can't unmute yourself. What percentage of Indian population is deficient in B12? Sorry, vitamin D. Anyone? Okay, Anshu is saying 80. Any others? Okay, Ashwinji is saying 50, 60. Dairy contains B12? No, dairy doesn't contain B12. B12 you get only from bacteria, not from dairy. Others, I've got three answers till now, and we are 18 of us, 17 of us other than me. Yeah, I think Anshu is the closest. Answer is 76. It is 76% population which is deficient in vitamin D. And the reason Sharan is so much adamant, because these two vitamins are not present in the food that we eat. So if you are on a whole food plant-based diet, there is high chance, or on any diet, vitamin D, in fact, you don't get from any particular diet, which we'll learn in the presentation ahead. And why do you think vitamin D is important? Let me check your knowledge first. Let me see what kind of audience I have today. Why is vitamin D important for us? You must have heard it from your doctor or must have read it on some YouTube or some news.
Absorption of calcium.
Absolutely, yes. Okay, it is important for absorption of calcium for bones. Yes, Seemaji, yes. It is important for bones. What else? Any ideas? What else is vitamin D for joints? Okay, yes, it is important for people with arthritis also. What else? Let me.
Bones.
Bones are bones. Some Seema has answered bones. Any other guesses? What? Yeah, Naveen ji, you have unmuted yourself.
Yeah, I think to keep your overall health of bones intact, and and also there is a requirement of phosphate in the body, so that
Mhm.
also vitamin D provides you.
Yes. So we learned today it's not only about bones. Let me start my presentation now. But before I start my presentation, let us see a video. This is in English, so if anybody doesn't understand, I will just explain in brief in Hindi. This is a 4-minute video by Dr. Ranjan Chatterjee. Everybody please mute yourself. I'm going to start it now. It's on YouTube, so there may be some lag. So please bear with me if there is some lag. I'm going to start it very soon. Yes, here it is. So this is actually his video to make diseases disappear. So he's a medical doctor who believes in healing without medicines. Similarly, on Sharan lines, he's not exactly whole food plant based, but let us see what he says about vitamin D. Yeah, I'm going to start it now. Pooja, show me a thumbs up now when you listen to the sound. Yeah, it's going to come up now.
I can make diseases disappear. To be more precise, I can make chronic diseases disappear. You see, chronic diseases are the long-term conditions like type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, depression, or even dementia. And there's 15 million people in England who have already been diagnosed with a chronic condition. So that means looking out amongst you now, there's probably about 250 people in here who have one of these long-term conditions. Just one of these alone, type 2 diabetes, is costing the UK £20 billion every single year. And I'm standing here before you saying, I can make these diseases disappear. See, I'm not a magician. I'm what the Americans call an MD. That's not a magical doctor. That's a medical doctor, or what I call a mere doctor. You see, the reason I can make diseases disappear is because diseases are just an illusion. Diseases are not real. In fact, diseases don't really exist. At least not in the way that we think they do. So 15 years ago, I qualified for medical school and I was ready. I was full of enthusiasm, full of passion, ready to go out and help people. But I always felt that there was something missing. I started off as a specialist. I moved from being a specialist to becoming a generalist or a GP. And I always got this nagging sense that I was just managing disease or simply suppressing people's symptoms. And then, just 5.5 years ago, came the turning point for me. You see, 5.5 years ago, my son nearly died. My wife and I, we were on holiday in France, and with our little baby boy, and she called out to me, said he's not moving. So I rushed there, and he was lifeless. I thought he was choking. So I picked him up, I tried to clear his airway. Nothing happened, and I froze. See, she called out to me, my wife said, come on, we've got to get to hospital. So we rushed there, and we were worried because when we got there, he still wasn't moving. The doctors were worried because they didn't know what was happening. That night, he had 2 lumbar punctures because they thought he might have meningitis. And he stayed in a foreign hospital for 3 days. And what actually transpired was my son had a low level of calcium in his blood that was caused by a low level of vitamin D. My son nearly died from a preventable vitamin deficiency, and his father, a doctor, knew nothing about it.
Isn't it startling that vitamin D deficiency can be fatal also? So before I move on, how many of you check vitamin D on a regular basis here? Okay, I can see few hands going up jinka camera on hai. Great, at least the cameras which are on, they are checking. What about others whose cameras are out? Kashmira is saying me. Geeta auntie is saying me. Great, great. Good to see that you guys are aware now, and even more doctors are aware regularly. Ashwin is saying, okay, Ashwin is saying, Rupali is also saying yes. Great. That's a good thing that you check regularly. And how many of you are supplementing regularly with vitamin D? Okay, almost all the hands are up. Great, great. That's very good to hear that so many of you are aware at least of vitamin D. Let's delve deeper into the presentation now. It's not a very long presentation, but yeah, you will learn very important facts which will in fact increase your belief that why this vitamin D is so important and improve your conviction also. So I'm just going to start the PowerPoint now. The it show. Yes. Can you look at the screen now? Is Sharon showing up on your screen? Great. So today's session is about vitamin D, its role and importance. I am Manish Sanghai. I am an integrative nutrition health coach and I've also done my study from Cornell University regarding healthy living and nutrition course. Yeah. So as always, I do a disclaimer first. This is only for educational purposes, should not be considered as a professional advice, medical advice. And any dietary changes should always be done under the supervision of a doctor or a health coach. And please do not stop any medication on your own. This is very important because people sometimes get motivated by my story or listening to so many stories of disease reversal and they stop their medications. So please do not do that on your own, especially if you have a chronic condition. Yeah. So let us first understand what is vitamin D. So vitamin D is actually not a vitamin, it's a hormone. And as most of us must be knowing that it is made by our skin when it is in direct contact with sun. That's why it's also called the sunshine vitamin. Okay. It is a fat soluble vitamin. Anybody has any idea what is fat soluble? You can unmute and speak. Yeah, let me check. We have a small group today. What is a fat soluble vitamin? There are actually two types of vitamins. One is water soluble and one is fat soluble. So fat soluble means
Should be taken with milk or ghee or anything oily.
okay. Ashaji is saying that with milk or ghee or anything oily. Any other guesses? But see, Ashaji, what you said now with milk, ghee, these are all saturated fat. So although they are fats, but they are not good for our body. These the
So
fats
what
that you
is the
spoke about.
alternative?
Yes, there are many alternatives. There are many fat sources that are there which you can take. Like avocado is a uh, uh, very healthy. It is very high in unsaturated fat. Certain nuts, seeds that we take, they're also very high in fats. Coconut, in fact, coconut also, the coconut milk or the coconut that we consume, that is very high in fats. Seeds, the flax seeds, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds that we eat. So vitamin D should always be taken with a fat source. This is where most of us miss the trick. We just take a supplement, never take it empty stomach. Never take vitamin D supplement. Always take it with a fat source because if you don't have unsaturated fat, healthy fats in your body won't be able to convert it into a usable form of vitamin D. So that is why it is very important to know that it's a fat soluble vitamin. And why there is so much of vitamin D deficiency now that 76% Indians are deficient. One is insufficient sun exposure. So that is why in the Rise and Thrive challenge, the third point that was there, it was about at least 15 minutes of sun exposure daily. It is important. And if you stay in UK or some other country where there is no direct contact with sunlight, you have to supplement yourself with vitamin D. Okay, environmental pollution. So even if you go out and you stay in a city where there is a lot of pollution, a lot of rays that should reach your sun, it doesn't reach. So that is why if there is a lot of pollution, you won't get vitamin D from the sun rays. Excessive clothing. So if you wear full sleeves or wear excessive clothing, then also your body won't be able to absorb vitamin D from the sun rays. And usage of sunscreen. So many of us go in sun thinking that you should not contact any other disease which is related to sun, but because of which the absorption of vitamin D is also restricted. So these are some of the factors which are responsible for vitamin D deficiency. But most of all, I would say that we have now conditioned ourselves to stay in four walls. We rarely go outside in the sun, and that is the major reason for deficiency. Other reasons are like many diseases which happen, especially diseases related to liver and kidney. We will learn why it is important that people with this condition should actually be very careful about supplementation with vitamin D. But some disease like cancer also. So if you have any form of cancer, then also the absorption of vitamin D may be affected. If you have a darker skin, if your skin complexion is darker, the amount of melanin, which is a pigment in your skin, that also inhibits the absorption of vitamin D. If you are pregnant, if you are obese, so people who have a lot of fat in their body, then also your body cannot absorb vitamin D. Yeah. And as I said, most people need vitamin D supplementation regardless of the type of diet that they eat. So many proponents of a meat, non-vegetarian, people who eat non-vegetarian, they say that you get a lot of B12 from there, you get a lot of vitamin D. But what I have seen from my experience at Sharon and past so many years of experience, whether they are a meat eater, whether they are a eat plant-based, whether they are Jain, whether they eat any kind of diet, Mediterranean diet, paleo diet, most of them are deficient in both D and B12. So don't think that by eating a certain kind of food, you can either get it from sunlight or you can get it from supplementation. There is actually no natural source other than sunlight. You can get vitamin D. So that is why we strongly suggest at Sharon that get your vitamin D checked every 6 months to a year and supplement if required. And as I said, 76% Indians are deficient in vitamin D. But see, in the case of vitamin D, I'll cover this later also. Why I'm saying check and supplement? Because see, vitamin D is fat soluble. It is stored in your body. Unlike B12, which is a water soluble vitamin, even if you overdose B12, it will not cause any harm to your body. But if your vitamin D levels are high, it can be toxic. It can lead to formation of kidney stones also. So I'll tell you the levels at the end. At the end, I will cover the levels also. So I'll just keep some suspense so that all of you stay till end. Uh, what are the toxic levels? We will cover that at the end of the session. Okay. Yeah. So this is the source from what I got the data that 76% Indians are deficient. So I would say not only check yourself, but even your kids, your parents, even children as young as 2 years of age need to check their vitamin D levels. Why is vitamin D important? First, everybody told yes, bone health. It helps in absorption of calcium, maintaining strong bones. It is also important for your immune system. So we see a lot of diseases related to the immune system, people having low immunity. Vitamin D is a major reason for that. So it helps by fortifying the immune system by increasing the amount of white blood cells, which depends again bacteria, viruses, infections, whatever happens. So you need some white blood cells. So they are like they fight with the infection. So vitamin D is important for your immune system also. It is also important in some autoimmune conditions. So like I had an autoimmune condition called Crohn's disease, and my vitamin D was very low. When I checked way back in 2008, when I was diagnosed with Crohn's, it was below 10. B12D was very low. And when I started supplementing, my symptoms also gradually disappeared. So maybe that it was not the exact reason for autoimmune, but yeah, it does help in like not suppression, but I would say in managing autoimmune condition in autoimmune diseases. It is anti-inflammatory also. That is why I covered vitamin D in arthritis group, because most of the arthritis is related to inflammation, as we learned in the previous sessions, that inflammation is one of the major causes for arthritis and similar conditions. So it is anti-inflammatory also. It is important for growth and cell differentiation. That is why I said in children as young as 2 years of age. So whenever you do any blood test, it should be checked and supplemented if required. For kids below the age of 12, I would suggest don't supplement on your own. Always ask a pediatrician and then only supplement. For adults, it's very safe. You can ask your doctor and you can just do a maintenance dose, which I'll discuss at the end of the session. Cell differentiation means all the cells that mature, which forms organs and which becomes a part of your organ systems. So it is very important for those cells also. Mental health. So nowadays we see a lot of cases of depression, of mental health issues, people having so many conditions, which we will learn in the presentation ahead. It is very important for that also. So it is not only important for bones, that which most of you guessed it correctly, because it is advertised in a way that it helps in absorption of calcium, but it is like a must. That is why the Sharon 5 point plan focuses so much of the importance of vitamin D. Yeah. Let us understand what happens like. So like I told that vitamin D, when it comes into contact with your skin, so what we think, chalo, I have gone in, I have like taken sun exposure and my job is done. I would say the job is half done. For vitamin D to get converted into an active form of vitamin D. So don't worry about all the complex terms. This is biochemistry actually, and we don't need to understand the terms. But the thing why I'm showing you this here is that you need to have a healthy liver and a healthy kidney also. So if you have any problem, if you have fatty liver, if your kidneys are not functioning properly, no matter how much you stay in the sun, you just stay in the sun for 6 hours daily also, your body won't be able to convert it into an active form of vitamin D. So it goes first the rays fall on your skin, the UV rays, then it goes to your liver, then it processed by your kidney, and then finally it is available in your blood for your bones to absorb. Okay, so this is why it is very, very important to take care of your overall health. Your liver, your kidneys, they are very, very important for vitamin D synthesis. Yeah. This is important. Yeah. I'll just quickly cover this. This is not to scare you, or please don't get scared by all the diseases, the names that will appear, but this is just for becoming aware so that we don't take this lightly. Because I know many of my students also who know they are deficient in vitamin D. They supplement for few weeks and then they stop there on their own, or they forget, or they just think that why do I need at this age? Believe me, everyone needs this. Yeah. So what it can lead to? It has strong correlation. Strong correlation means vitamin D is not responsible for these diseases, but it is very important in management of these diseases. Yeah. One is osteoporosis. Some of you guessed, yeah, it is important for bones. Osteomalacia, which is softening of the bones. Your bones becomes soft. Arthritis, like I said, inflammation. Yeah. So osteoarthritis, RA, AS, all these diseases, it has a strong correlation, vitamin D deficiency. Even cancers of the colon, prostate cancer, breast cancer, the IBD, like ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, in that also vitamin D plays a very important role. Conditions like a tuberculosis, heart disease, atherosclerosis, the plaque formation in the heart, that also has a strong correlation with vitamin D deficiency. Brain function. So in the previous slide, I talked about mental health. So mental health and brain health, they are very closely related. Both are very closely related. So the cognitive decline that we see as we age, diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, all these diseases, they also have a strong correlation with vitamin D deficiency. Depression, as we discussed earlier, memory loss, lack of concentration we see in kids. This is very common in kids these days. They're not able to concentrate, not able to focus. There are a lot of mood swings, insomnia, not able to sleep properly. Vitamin D can be a deficiency, can be a reason for this also. And the list is longer. There's one more page. Fatigue, a very common problem that we encounter these days. Muscle weakness, cramps, dry hair or alopecia. Alopecia areata is the complete hair loss that happens. So this is also autoimmune condition, which is very common these days. Major factor is stress, because we live as if we are the general managers of the world, and we have all the burden on our shoulders. So that leads to alopecia. Why I'm saying that? Because I had this thrice in my life, alopecia, and I had big hair loss, and it came back again when I just improved my mental health, and obviously supplementation also helped. Yeah. Diseases related to chronic inflammation, skin disorders. Yeah. So psoriasis, eczema. Here also vitamin D plays a role. Eye disorders. List is long. List is long. Heart disease, coronary artery disease. It can affect the fetus in pregnant women. That is why women who are pregnant. So if you know any pregnant woman in your house or anybody in your relation, please them ask to check their vitamin D and B12. Both are very, very important in pregnancy also, but please don't supplement on your own. Always ask a doctor. And rickets in children. So children who are like they don't have proper structure, the body structure is not proper, the rickets, and in elders also, your bones become very weak, osteomalacia, like I mentioned in the previous slide in adults. This is also because of vitamin D. So it is not only important for osteoporosis or arthritis or bones and joints. So many things can happen if, or it can worsen the disease if you have deficiency of vitamin D. Yeah. It was truly starting for me also when I did my research and I did my study and came to know the importance of vitamin D. So that is why in my house, at least all my kids, I have three kids, aged 18, 13, and 12, and ensure that they take their maintenance dose. We check them every year for their levels and just adjust the dose of supplements, because me being a health coach, I have the knowledge now. But if you don't have the knowledge, please consult a health coach or a doctor and take proper supplementation. What are the do's and don'ts now? This is the last slide. What are the do's and don'ts that you need to follow? One, like I said in the Rise and Thrive challenge, sunlight for 30 minutes every day. Every day, that is important. Not like जब mood हुआ तब चले गए. Today you are in good mood, so you go out, and you don't go out. And even if you go out in the sun, if you are obese, or if you wear full clothes, or if you are dark skinned, chances are that you won't be able to get, or if you live in an area where there is a lot of pollution, if you live in big cities, metro cities, chances are that even that would won't be sufficient. But at least something is better than nothing. And don't wear any sunglasses or any sunscreen. Just go as minimal clothing as possible, like I said. Then check your vitamin D every 6 months, or I would say if you, if it has been fairly constant, then every year also you can check. But initially, yes, if the levels are very low, you need to like check it every 6 months and supplement if required. And the desired range, if you see in the blood report, it will be between 30 and 70. Some labs says 30 and 50. But here in functional medicine, what we say is that levels should be between 40, optimal range should be between 45 and 70. That is nanograms per milliliter. You check the units also, because some labs reports different units. You can just convert that on Google if you want, but this is very important. Normally, when you are borderline, when it is between 30 and 35, what many conventional doctors say that levels are normal, you don't need to do anything. So that is a very, very, I would say, very conventional way to look at vitamin D. But what we teach here is that at least keep it above 45, but not above 70 also, because it can get toxic if it is above 70. You need to be very careful with the range. Okay. As I said, people with liver disease, kidney disease, or any digestive issues also need to be vigilant. So suppose you have liver cirrhosis, or you have any kidney issues or any disease. So it's a must even if your levels are normal, because even supplementation doesn't work in such cases. You need to dose maybe through IV or through take a very high dose on a daily basis. Also sometimes you need to take if you have a chronic liver or kidney disease. Next is one is bring down your weight. So this is not only important for vitamin D, but I would say it's a must. If you are obese, number one thing you should do is work on anyhow bringing down your weight. At Sharan also we have many weight loss programs. We have group coaching programs where we can guide you how to go about reducing your weight. Because if you are obese, no matter how much you sit in sun. So I had a client who was 110 kgs, and she was like, Manish, daily I sit in sun for 30 minutes with less clothing. Still, my vitamin D is extremely low. Hers was below 10, because she was obese. And if you are obese, then your sun rays cannot penetrate the skin and reach your liver and kidneys. So that won't work. That doesn't work if you're obese. So bring down your weight. For this advice, you will thank me. So this will help you in diabetes. It will help you in blood pressure. It will help you in heart disease. It will help you in cancers. It works against so many diseases. So if you're overweight, if you have a lot of visceral fat around your belly, yeah, just work on your diet, work on your lifestyle. It's not a very challenging thing. I've had clients in their 60s and 70s who have lost 20 kgs in the last couple of years. So age should also not be an excuse for not bringing your weight down. There is nothing, there's people say that metabolism slows down as you age. It is very difficult. So by saying these terms, you actually make things difficult for you. So for most of the cases, I would say weight loss is the one of the easiest thing you can do. You just need to like manage your diet. Sharon, whole food. If you are on whole food plant-based diet, you are bound to lose weight. Now, because the food is so satiating, you don't tend to overeat. And when you don't tend to overeat, you just move your body to 30 for 45 minutes. What I say in the Rise and Thrive challenge, you just go for a walk, do some exercises. It is that easy. It's that easy to bring down your weight. Yeah. And this is very important. This last point that I'm mentioning here, ask your doctor for a maintenance dose. So what happens is, just a random example I'm giving you, check your vitamin D, it comes 10, very low. What your doctor will say is take one medicine. I'm not mentioning the dose here because I don't want this people to take supplements on their own from this session. So doctor will give you one medicine, take this medicine for 8 weeks, once a week for 8 weeks, and then doctor also forgets, you also forget. And then you check after a couple of years and then again levels come low. So this up and down business is not good for us. This yo-yo thing that happens, that levels go high, you stop supplementing, levels come low, then again you start supplementing and then you forget. So there is something called as a maintenance dose where you just take once in a month. So normally the doses the doctors give now is 60,000 international units per month. So just continue with that. And if you are beyond a certain age, at least beyond 50 or 60, then you need to do this loading phase. So I called it the loading phase, once a week for 8 weeks, after 6 to 8 months again. So after you test, you will see that levels again gradually start coming low. But if your levels are within the range 45 to 70, then once a month is good enough, but you need to take that. So please don't forget. What I do is I set reminders in my mobile phone for my entire family. So since I had Crohn's disease also, my digestion was affected. So even if my levels are normal, I take it once a week. And I keep on checking myself every year, and I just maintain it between 50 and 60 and within that range. So if you have any digestive issues, chronic digestive issues, ulcerative colitis or Crohn's, please check and supplement accordingly. Okay, so don't forget asking your doctor about the maintenance dose also. Yeah, so this was all about vitamin D. I hope it was helpful. A lot of things we discussed. Any questions anybody has related to vitamin D, or any other questions related to arthritis also, because it was not a very long presentation today. Anybody? Yeah.
Uh, can you can you please tell us, is there any plant-based vitamin D supplement?
See, most of the supplements are plant-based only, which I take. So there are many. I don't want to mention names because people start supplementing on their own. But I've hardly come across any supplement which is not plant-based, I would say.
So because why I'm asking you, because I'm vegan and I'm also kind of a plant-based completely for last 11 years.
Yes.
So in the market, if you go, there are some you don't know what kind of inputs are there in the capsules or whatever. So doctors also don't tell you whether they are vegan or not vegan.
Yes. So there are granules that come in the market. What Sharan suggests, these are called as calcirol granules. So you just mix that with some drink, or you can mix that with your smoothie or some herbal drink, and you can have that. So the one
Calcicol.
calcirol.
Sorry?
Calcirol. I'll type in the chat box.
Can't we mix with water also?
I won't suggest with water because it is not water soluble.
Okay, with smoothie it is better.
Yeah.
Morning.
Yes. So calcium granules that you can take. Uprise D3 is a very good brand which doctors suggest very often. Uprise D3, it's a capsule form that you can take. Then there is a one called Tio 60K, but it has some flavorings of orange, so that we don't normally suggest at Sharan now because it has a bit of processing that goes through. There's Super D3, sorry, I'm not aware of that brand. I'm not aware. So normally the doses that doctor suggests is 60,000 international units. So what many people ask me, Manish, can we take it on a daily basis? Okay, so some people do, rather than having 60,000 in a week or in a month, they think that taking 500 or 1,000 IU daily, that works. So I'm not a big fan of that because it's a fat soluble thing and it is stored in your body. So rather than having it daily, just have it once a week or once a month and you are sorted. So that's a easy
Many
way.
doctors,
Yeah.
many doctors prescribe 60K per week
Yes.
plus 2000 IU per day.
Yes, so
Along
that
with
may
that.
be that in case of extreme cases. So if somebody is extremely deficient, or if you have a liver issue, if you have a kidney issue, if you have a gut issue, then this is like a very heavy dose of vitamin D, which people require sometimes. Yes. So I think that is very bio-individual. It is very difficult to comment without knowing the history. But as I said, you can very easily check it yourself every 6 months. If the levels are between 45 and 70, you don't need to worry at all. You are in the hands of a good doctor, I would say. But if it goes above 70, definitely you should reduce your dosage. That is very important because it can get toxic above that. Yeah, I have some question. Some suggestions are that we should take K2 with vitamin D3. Yeah, it is somewhat true, I would say. vitamin K and vitamin D. So vitamin K2 also helps in like, but you get vitamin K from the green smoothie that you take. Actually, that is why Sharon doesn't say about vitamin K2 or vitamin K. If you are on a whole food plant-based diet, vitamin K is actually not required to be taken separately. The greens that we eat are very high in vitamin K. How many of you take a green smoothie daily? Just a quick show of hands. Great. Awesome. Great. So that is why you will never hear at Sharon about any other vitamin or any other supplement. We talk only about 2D and B12. You just eat healthy, eat whole food, plant-based, and you are sorted. But yeah, nowadays in Western countries, because they don't believe in eating plants and a lot of like meat eaters, they are deficient in K2. So they say that supplement with K2 also. But if you are on a Sharan whole food plant-based diet, you don't need to worry about that. It's as simple as supplementing and checking. So please don't confuse yourself of all this YouTube literature and WhatsApp literature, WhatsApp University that is there. They are just confusing us, and basically we are being made scapegoats also, because the more you spend, the more they earn, the supplement companies. So be very careful with supplementation. It is called supplement for a reason, that it cannot replace your food. Supplementation is required only if you're deficient in it. So don't think that it is a replacement for healthy diet. Okay, so that is why we never suggest taking K2 with D3. Yeah, any other question? Is this good? Sorry, it is not downloading here. I cannot see it completely. 60,000 IU, it's same. It's all the same. Yeah, it's just a different brand. I can see. Yeah. So I think it should be safe, but I don't know the brand name or the company, so I cannot comment. But yes. Yeah. Pravinji, any question you had? Sorry. Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah, Geeta aunty, yes.
So smoothie had Manish fat.
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
Smoothie में fat होता है? Morning.
Smooth. See, normal smoothie that we have, that contains very less fat.
And you're telling to take with smoothie, no? So I'm asking.
No, the calcerol granules that we take. So that you can mix. Yeah, you can just fortify your smoothie with that granules and you can have that. But that doesn't contain fat. So a very good source of fat that I have personally is peanut butter.
Oh,
Peanut butter is very healthy. It is.
lunch we can have now. Anyhow, we are taking some fat in with lunch.
Yeah. Yes. It's not expected that you should take immediately with fat. See, fat again is stored in your body. So it's not that when you are having this, you should have fat together with. It's not that कि दोनों को साथ में ही लेना है हमें. It's not like that.
Proteins.
But if you don't consume fat at all, then vitamin D absorption will be difficult for you.
Thank you.
Yes. So that's why I say never go on a extreme diet. Your diet should be a good mix of carbohydrates, fats, proteins. They are very, very important, all the macronutrients. So people sometimes go on a very strict diet, very long intermittent fasting, or completely fruit diet for months and all those things. And that actually causes a lot of problem in the long run. In the short run, you feel good because all the junk is out. But in the long run, these extreme diets cause more harm than good. Yeah. Yeah, Geeta aunty, you had a question?
Yes, I had the same question, that how does one take the vitamin,
Yeah.
the D supplement?
We take it with normal food. It's not necessary to have it adjacent to your fat source. It's not like that. So fat is something which is stored in your body. It should be there.
Can be taken any time of the day with any meal, or preferably on an empty stomach in the morning?
Not empty stomach, I would say. Yeah, any meal is good. Yeah. But taking it regularly is important.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Manish, can we check vitamin D ourselves, or do we have to visit a doctor to have it diagnosed?
Yes.
Is
So
there any
normally,
simple method? I mean, is it how we feel that is important, or what?
see, the thing is that if you are deficient in vitamin D, for most of us, all the symptoms that are there, they are very random. So it's not that it is directly. So if suppose if you have anemia, so your skin will become pale. So doctor can make out looking at your skin, he may be low in hemoglobin. The problem is vitamin D is the symptom so common and they are overlapping with other diseases. So just by looking at your skin, you cannot guess. But definitely if you're not supplementing, 99% of times you will be deficient in vitamin D. If you have not supplemented in the last 1 year or 6 months, then chances are very high that you are deficient. But there is no physical like manifestation of vitamin D that you can pinpoint. That is why testing is very important. There is no other way to make out to be absolutely sure. And these tests are very cheap nowadays. It's not very expensive also. Earlier it were very expensive 10, 15 years ago. But now they are relatively, and I would say it is worthwhile to get it tested, even if you find it expensive, because the diseases that can manifest if you are deficient in vitamin D, it's not worth the miss. So don't miss your tests. Testing is important.
Okay, thank you so much, Manish.
We can test on our own, so you don't need a doctor prescription in India. If you stay in India, at least you can just go and get yourself
No, I
tested. And
live outside India, so that's the reason I'm asking
yeah, it
you.
can get challenging, especially in the UK, US. It is very challenging to get yourself tested. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. Any other questions anybody has?
Thank you, Manish.
Thank you, Ashaji. Thank you.
Maniji, what percentage of the supplements gets absorbed in the body, in the bloodstream?
I exactly don't know the percentage, but if you are a healthy individual, then the percentage is very high, I believe, because what I have seen in my clients and my family members also, once we start supplementing, the levels go high very fast.
Because 60,000 per week, it itself is a, very heavy dose.
Sir, if you see, if you're deficient, then it is not a very high dose. It's an optimal dose.
And then your requirement at this above 60 or above 70, your requirement is how much? 600 IU or 700 IU?
See, don't go by the RDA, the recommended dietary allowance that is there that you see on the internet. That is all outdated. So from where did the ranges come? See, you are asking what are the optimal levels of recommended this thing. So that is from a disease point of view. Here we are talking from a thriving point of view, that what levels of supplementation you need in order to thrive, in order to lead a healthy life. For example, take example of diabetes. So what is the normal, they say, what is the cutoff point for deciding whether you have diabetes or not? Fasting, what, let's talk about fasting. So doctors say that it is 110. So if you are 100, what doctor will say? You don't have diabetes, right? But if you go to a functional medicine practitioner, even 100 we consider diabetes.
Specific time.
So we try to keep it between 84 and 89. Fasting blood sugar. That is what we prefer. So similarly for vitamin D also. So I don't know what is the recommended dietary allowance now. I think it is 600 IU or something. That is very less. So many of the doctors that I follow and many of what I have learned from my doctors also, they go as high as 10,000 IU per day if you have any deficiency in vitamin D. So that comes to around 70,000 IU per week. So that is why 60,000 IU per week, if you're deficient, it's an ideal dosage. And that every doctor follow nowadays. Even if you go to a conventional doctor, they also give the same dosage only. They don't say go for 600 IU or 1,000 IU per day. That won't work for you.
And 60,000 IU, how many per week, how many weeks one should take?
See, that depends on the levels. That depends on the what levels are there. So if you are in range, then 60,000 IU per month is also good enough. If you are in the healthy range, optimal range.
So you mean to say bring your range in order first and then take 60,000 per month?
Ideally, yes, but always better to ask a doctor or a health coach, because it is very challenging for me on a public platform to give dosages, because everybody reacts differently. Everybody has different conditions. So if you have a liver condition, even if you're just like I have I had Crohn's disease. So it is an inflammatory bowel disease. My levels are normal. Still, I take a high dosage. So my levels are last I tested was 58, but still I take once a week. So,
once a week, 60,000.
And but my levels never go beyond the toxic range. It never goes above 70 because I had a gut condition. So if I go to a conventional doctor, a gastroenterologist or any medical doctor, what they will say, MD doctor, that they will say, no, Manish, your levels are normal. You can stop supplementing or just take once a month. If I take starting once a month, my level falls drastically. It comes down below 30. So that is why looking at the entire case is important. It's very difficult to comment on the dosage for general population. But yes, definitely once a month, very safely, most of us can take. And you should
Post once a week, right? Post your levels are okay.
Yes, post the loading phase. Yes, post the loading phase, you should take once a month. That's what the general recommendation is, but always better to ask a specialist. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Reshma ji, you had a question? No? Okay.
So Manish, we talked about the vitamin D deficiencies. What happens if it is the vitamin D toxicity? What are the symptoms? How do we? Yeah, of course, testing is one way.
Yes, kidney stones can happen actually. If you overdose with vitamin D, one of the most common things that happen with you is it can affect your kidneys. Because see, as we
Okay.
talked about the synthesis of vitamin D, it first goes to your liver, then to your kidneys, and it gets calcified in your kidneys. It can cause kidney stones. So
Okay.
it would be too late for you to like come to know that you're toxic. That is why testing is important.
Okay. Now, what
Yes.
happened with us was we continued taking 60,000 units every week for a year instead of reducing it. And some problems started arising, like high blood pressure, and all my joints were aching. I could not do yoga. And I was like, I am following this diet since years. People's arthritis go away, and why this arthritis has come to me? So we got it checked and we came to know we have vitamin D toxicity.
Okay.
So we stopped it for some time, for a while, and then everything normalized.
Maybe it can impact because I've never
So
seen
I
a case
just
of
wanted to share this with
great.
everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that toxicity. It can cause so many problems. It can cause joint pains also. What were the levels? Just for knowledge, I'm asking. What were the levels when you tested?
112.
Okay. It was very high.
Yes.
Very
For
high.
my, just to share, of course, it's a smaller group, so I'm sharing. Like an orthopedic doctor gave me injections when I had a fracture, and that my range was low, and the injections uh, took me to the toxic levels. Then he tells me, don't go out in the sun. don't expose yourself. So it was like, took me a couple of months to truly, completely keep myself, kept curtains closed, this, that, and all. Because I had gone over 100, 110, 120, I think it was 125 or something. So sometimes it's really very, very essential to take the blood test and monitor every month so that I can know what it is. That little exercise I have come to realize that the doctor may not recommend, but when you're taking this, that one little blood test can save you from a very different levels that it can reach.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah. If you're on extra dosage for some reason, for some condition, like she had a fracture, and so doctor maybe gave a very high dose of vitamin D, which reached toxic levels. So even doctors can do mistakes. So it's always better to get yourself tested.
So now when I'm being recommended, right now again I've been recommended because mine has totally gone down. So the doctor said after 3 months take a test. I said no, please write a prescription. I want one take every month. So she wrote down, okay, take once every month.
Okay.
It took a year to get everything normalized after stopping vitamin D.
Yes.
Yes, because it is fat soluble and it is stored in our body. That's why you should not take it daily. Also, some doctors recommend daily. I'm very surprised by that. Why such a high dose is given on a daily basis? But yeah, thank you, Pratibha ji and Geeta aunty for sharing. Yeah, any other questions? Shall we end the session here? Great. So as I end the session with a song, so it's a very, very motivating song for many of us. This is by Dr. Rida Khan from Pakistan. So this song speaks about a very important ornament that we should all wear. Any guesses what we should all wear daily? Yeah. Everybody, male, female, everyone.
Smile.
Yes. Yes. So this song will definitely make you smile. So let's end the session on a smiling note. It's a very beautiful song, and just be attentive to her, what she says in between also. So she will give a lot of commentary in between. She's a very beautiful singer. Yeah.
चलो आज एक कहानी सुनते हैं. कहीं ना कहीं तुमसे भी रिलेट करेगी ये. इस वक्त कोई ना कोई अपने मंजिल पे पहुंच चुका है, लेकिन इस फेज से जरूर गुजरा होगा. इस फेज से तो सब गुजरते हैं, और कोई तुम्हारी और मेरी तरह स्ट्रगल कर रहा है. तो एक दफा जो गिर जाए ना, तो सिर्फ अगर वो उठने का सोच भी लेता है ना, बस वो चैंपियन है. तो तुम चैंपियन हो, खास वाले. तो हुआ क्या, टूटा टूटा एक परिंदा ऐसे टूटा कि फिर जुड़ ना पाया, लूटा लूटा किसने उसको ऐसे लूटा कि फिर उड़ ना पाया। हुआ क्या, गिरता हुआ वो आसमां से आके गिरा जमीन पर, ख्वाबों में फिर भी बादल ही थे, वो कहता रहा मगर के जो भी हो अल्लाह के बंदे हंस दे, अल्लाह के बंदे, अल्लाह के बंदे हंस दे, जो भी हो कल फिर आएगा, अल्लाह के बंदे हंस दे, अल्लाह के बंदे, अल्लाह के बंदे हंस दे, जो भी हो कल फिर आएगा। तुम हारने से नहीं डरते ना तो तुम्हें कोई नहीं हरा सकता, और जब तक तुम नहीं रुकोगे तो सब चलता रहेगा, तुम बढ़ते रहोगे। क्या होता है कि ऐसे वक्त में ना अच्छे अच्छे साथ छोड़ जाते हैं, आपके पास सिर्फ अपना आप होता है, आपका खुदा होता है, तो मुश्किल होता है ऐसा वक्त, पर नामुमकिन नहीं होता। तो जब सब कुछ खो दिया उसने भी, तो क्या हुआ, खो के अपने पर ही तो उसने था उड़ना सीखा, खो के अपने पर ही तो उसने था उड़ना सीखा। जब बहुत ज़्यादा गम मिले ना तो साथ दर्द भी मिलता है, फिर क्या होता है उन लोगों को ज़्यादा खुशी की अहमियत होती है, फिर वो खुशी के इंतज़ार में नहीं होते, छोटी छोटी खुशियाँ खुद बनाते हैं और जीते हैं ज़िंदगी को। तो आगे बढ़ना है ना, गम को अपने साथ में ले ले, गम को अपने साथ में ले ले, दर्द भी तेरे काम आएगा, अल्लाह के बंदे हंस दे, अल्लाह के बंदे, अल्लाह के बंदे हंस दे, जो भी हो कल फिर आएगा। हाँ तुम जरा दिल से। फिर जब सब कुछ टूट गया, टुकड़े टुकड़े हो गया, उसने कहा यार अब बस हो गई है, लेकिन इवेंचुअली हमें फिर समझ आता है कि हर चीज़ में अल्लाह ताला ने कुछ चुना होता है हमारे लिए, और पता क्या होता है, हमें उससे बेहतरीन मिलता है। तो हुआ यूं के टुकड़े टुकड़े हो गया था हर सपना जब वो टूटा, टुकड़े टुकड़े हो गया था हर सपना जब वो टूटा। फिर उसको भी समझ आया कि बिखरे टुकड़ों में अल्लाह की मर्जी का मंजर पाएगा, अल्लाह के बंदे हंस दे, अल्लाह के बंदे, अल्लाह के बंदे हंस दे, जो भी हो कल फिर आएगा, ये वक्त भी गुजर जाएगा। तुम खास हो, हिम्मत मत हारना, आगे बढ़ते रहना। ओह मंजिल बहुत दूर है, सफ़र करेंगे पहुंच जाएंगे, दोनों तरीके का सफ़र ज़रूरी है, सफ़र भी। तुम खास हो, स्माइल।
I think that definitely brought a smile to your face.
It was very nice, very, very nice.
Yes, a very important lesson she taught us to smile and not get disheartened by failures in life.
Thank you,
Always-
Manish ji. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank
Your,
you.
vit-
Thank
your
you so
vitamin
much.
C can be maintained if you keep smiling.
Absolutely. That take care of all the vitamins and minerals and everything. Yeah, if you just learn to not take life too seriously. Yes. So that is why I try to end most of my sessions with on a positive note. Yeah. The next session I'm going to thinking of taking about a knee issue, because many of I got personal messages from people about knee issues and
Very
what
important. Manish ji, very important.
very important. Yes.
When
So
is
I'll
that?
do mostly after 2 weeks, and that would be on Saturday. Normally I take on Saturdays. Yesterday I was traveling, so that is why I took today. But mostly on after 2 weeks I'll take on Saturday a knee care workshop